Hey, you guys, and welcome to Sunshine Haze. I am Aja A, and as you see tarot cards on your screen, you know that it is time for a reading. Before I get started, this reading is for Gemini Sun, Gemini Moon, and Gemini Rising. So if you feel like what I'm saying in this video does not resonate with you, it means that this video is not necessarily for you. However, I do have a playlist to a link with every zodiac sign. So I would suggest going on and checking out your moon and or rising sign down there, okay? With that being said, this is the lunar cycle tarot forecast for the Scorpio lunar season. So we're talking November to December. With that being said, I also have a new moon in Scorpio video where I talk about, just the energies that we're working with underneath the Scorpio lunar cycle. So I would suggest going on and checking that out as well. Any other videos? Mercury retrograde, Jupiter in Sagittarius, and then also we are still in the Venus retrograde shadow, so I would check out my Venus retrograde video too, just because that is a planet that affects us quite a bit during its retrograde period. And I have everything that I just talked about, I do have links to down in the description box below. I also have an Autumn Equinox tarot forecast up for all of the signs as well, so looking at the fall months, the fall season, so September, October, November, and December. And I've got a link in the description box to that playlist as well, okay, y'all? Alrighty, as I was saying, this is for the Scorpio lunar cycle. So we're doing the typical 5-card spread. Going to be looking at the energy for you Geminis during the next month. Also going to be looking at any crossing energies because we are talking about Scorpio. One of the cards that I pull will be looking at where you're going to be gaining some clarity or where you need to gain some clarity. And then also going to be looking at where you need to devote a little bit more of your passion, a little bit more of your energy into, okay? And then as always, a soul message. Something extra, spirit message. I can't talk. Something extra for you to take away with you from this spread, okay? All right. Let's go on and shuffle the deck. Get the rest of these cards going. See what's popping off for Gemini Sun, Gemini Moon, and Gemini Rising. What was that? You guys have the Emperor card flying out of the deck, and this is a card that talks about kind of regrounding yourself, restabilizing yourself, and you do have the Empress sitting on the bottom of the deck. Regrounding, finding your center, rerouting, restabilizing. So that card falling out, Gemini, does come with a little bit of a message of this Scorpio lunar cycle really either showing you or bringing you back into a space to where you may either have to start again or may have to start cultivating something that you started and walked away from at one point. But whatever foundation you're having to revisit during this next time, or whatever foundation you're having to look at and, reevaluate during this time, it's important for you to do so because it's meant for you to build it up in a certain way, if that makes sense, okay? All right, let's finish shuffling these cards, see what's popping off for y'all. Alrighty, let's go on and cut the deck. Oh, okay. Okay, Gemini. Okay, we coming in kind of strong with this one. All right, so the first card that you guys the first card that y'all have coming up in your spread is the Journey card. And this card really carries the energy of literally what it says on the card, the journey. And this is for the energy of you during this Scorpio lunar cycle. And for those of you that do know a little bit about astrology, you do know that Scorpio is a sign associated with death in the tarot, and the death card is associated with the energy of ending cycles, releasing, cord cutting, clearing, cleansing, healing, letting go, ending old things in order to make space for a new. So that is the energy that we're working with underneath the Scorpio lunar cycle, right? You have the journey card coming in position of the energy for you. So Gemini, what this tells me is that for you, this next month may either be one where you're really completely kind of just starting anew, or really, really, really taking some time to think about where you're going in this life, or how you are going to get to where it is that you want to go. You had the Emperor card fall out, and remember I was saying like, I'm feeling like some of you may have to kind of go back to the drawing board and restabilize, reground, recenter yourself, or start to cultivate things that you may have moved away from. I don't know why I pick up on the sense of moving away from something, but I feel that a lot of you maybe have, you guys are Geminis, you put your energy into a lot of different things, several different things, so much so that sometimes you put your energy into so much that you forget to put it into yourself. This journey card popping up in this position, Gemini, does tell me that this next month is time for you to think about what you have going on, what you want life to look like, and how you can prepare yourself to get to that point, and what path you have to go down, what path you have to lay out, okay? And I'm going to bring a little bit more clarity to this card, but I want to do so by talking about the next card that comes up. You have the Five of Cups crossing you as your energy for this month during the Scorpio lunar cycle. And for those of y'all that watch my videos, y'all know that the Five of Cups is one of my aw shit cards. This is a card that talks about loss, that talks about grief. It is a Cups card, so it is associated with the water element, which is everything to do with our emotions and our emotional investments and our emotional attachments. This card comes up a lot for family and friendships and relationships, okay? This being in the position of the crossing energy to your journey is telling me, Gemini, that some of you may come into this point to where you start to see and start to feel like you may have made some choices that were not the best for you, which makes a lot of sense. We are under a Mercury retrograde as well, or at least in the shadow, depending on when you're looking at this video. And Mercury is your planet. Your planet resonates with a lot of intellectual, a lot of perspective energy, and the Five of Cups is telling me that, Gemini, a lot of you might be thinking about decisions that you've made in regards to things that you are emotionally invested in. So whether that be your career, whether that be your art, your family, your friends, or your relationships, some of you might be feeling like you did not do the right thing, or that you did something wrong, or that you did something that you can't change, which has kind of shifted everything for the worse, so to speak. This is your crossing energy, and this being a crossing energy is kind of telling me that some of you Geminis will very much so be living in your heads and dealing with your dual energy of, is it really that bad, or is it not really that bad, and did I do this like this, or I should have did this like this, and I should have did this and this and this and this and this and this and this, right? Five of Cups is saying like you're kind of feeling like, oh dang, shoot, well, what do I do now? Because the decisions that I've made have put me into this place to where, you know, it's caused me to lose things, or it's caused me to lose out, or it's caused me to lose my friends, or it's caused me to, you know, fuck up relationships with my family, or it's caused me to, you know, lose my job, or lose the opportunities that I had for myself. Gemini, this is a crossing energy, and with all of my spreads, I always talk about this being an energy that you can either turn upright or completely do away with during the lunar cycle. I think this is one of those energies that you are going to have to overcome. And what I will tell y'all, Gemini, y'all know I don't sugarcoat shit. I keep it very real, because I feel like lying to y'all can put you in a bad space, especially if you really be listening to my readings. And you should never give your power to a reading. I provide these readings to give y'all insight, not necessarily, I'm not a fortune teller. I like to make that very clear. I don't do readings to tell you your future or to tell y'all what to do. I give readings to provide insight, to help you make decisions for doing what's best for you. This Five of Cups card, Gemini, this is not an easy energy. This is not light energy. It's a very heavy energy, but with that being said, it's not one that you can't maneuver through. So this crossing the journey card is telling me that, Gemini, you feel that either your emotional investments or your decisions regarding your emotional investments or attachments may somehow in some way have tainted or have kind of halted your journey. It kind of stopped you or pulled you away from what it is that you had planned for yourself. And with that being said, Gemini, y'all are Geminis. If that is the case, y'all can always come out of that. Like, that's something that can be fixed. That's something that can be dealt with, okay? The next card that you guys have coming up in your spread is the Justice card, and this is coming up in the position of where are you going to be receiving some clarity? Where is there going to be a little bit of light shed for you? The Justice card is a karmic card. Whenever I read with this card, it points to karmic situations. So Gemini, a lot of you, and again, before I even go further into this reading, if you're feeling like what I'm saying is not resonating with you at all, go on and watch a different reading. Okay. This Justice card coming up in the position of where are you going to gain clarity. This is a card that I attach to karmic situations, that I attach to cause and effect, that I attach to actions and reactions, right? It's coming up in the position of where you're going to gain clarity. It's coming through with a very strong message, Gemini, saying that some of you are involved in situations, whether they be like jobs that you put your energy into, relationships, friendships, anything of the sort, where you genuinely have put your energy into something. And this card comes with two messages. The Justice card, again, I told you it's a karmic energy. Whenever I pull this card, when I pull the Judgment card, is usually it's a wrap on that. When I pull the Justice card, this card usually tells me that there's something underneath the surface that is hidden that you're not seeing, but it is a major component to everything that's going on. This coming up in the position of where you're gaining clarity. I more so, I get more like sneaky vibes from this card. I feel like for some of you Gemini, somebody around you or something around you or something that you got going on is not everything that it seems cracked up to be. And whether you are aware of that or not, Gemini, trust and believe you will be made aware of it by the time this lunar cycle closes out. Anything that you need to know, especially in regards to your progression, your growth towards your higher and your better self, if there's anybody or any situation attached to it, attached to you, attached to your energy that is, one, not good for you or causing things to slow down or stopping you from doing the things that you need to do, please believe that you will be made aware of what this person is and what it is that they're doing or what the situation is during this next month. All right, Gemini? With that being said, when the karmic cards come up too, I always like to give the message of, if you are shown that it is time for something to end or that it is time for you to remove your energy away from a certain situation or a certain job or a certain just anything, when you remain in situations or continue to do things that you're no longer supposed to be doing, that is when shit starts to hit the fan. So when this Justice energy comes in for you, Gemini, when you gain that clarity, please heed the warning. Please heed that warning. Please see whatever is being shown to you for what it is and make moves accordingly, okay? All right. The next card that you guys have coming up in your spread is in the position of where do you need to devote a little bit more of your passionate energy, and you've got the Six of Swords. This is your element. This is one of your cards. The Swords is the air element. It is the element or the suit associated with, your thoughts, your mental, your state of mind, your communication. When the Six of Swords comes up, this card typically talks about a person coming out of a time where, things might have been a little rocky, or coming out of a time where things have been hazy or where things have not been clear. What I think, especially with the cards coming up in your spread, Gemini, that this Six of Swords represents for you being attached to a situation where the wool has kind of been pulled over your eyes, or kind of being in a situation where, you thought things were one way, but they're truly honestly not, and you may not have figured that out yet, or there's so much going on to stop you from figuring that out. This is where you need to devote your energy. This is really telling me that, there's chaos that needs to be worked through, and you can work through it. There are things that are not clear, and you can gain clarity, but you're not going to gain the clarity if you continue to tell yourself that you don't want to. And subconsciously, I feel like that's a subconscious thing. I think for some of you Geminis, there's something that is going on that is not necessarily the best decision for you. And maybe you don't want to leave the situation, or maybe you're starting to see it for what it truly is, and that truly saddens you because you thought it was something that it wasn't. Whatever that may be, it's going to clarify itself, and it's going to, confirm what it is that you need to know during this time. But in order for all of that to happen, Gemini, you have to be open to accepting that things have to change. We are in the season of transformation. We are in the season of death. If we're talking about tarot with Scorpio, we are in the death season. So we are in the season of ending cycles that no longer serve us, of clearing out energy that we no longer need to carry around or no longer need to be attached to. This card, I also do want to tell you, does come with the message of hope. This is a hopeful card. And this is also a card of starting to gain clarity and starting to see things for what they truly are. And this is also a card that points that does signify like a sudden change, or like not a sudden change, but like a change, a shift from what it is that you knew prior to moving into something different. It is a card that is associated a little bit with travel. So you might be traveling away, quote unquote, from something, so to speak, moving away from something. But there's hope. So just understand that whatever you have to get rid of, or whatever is showing its true colors to you, whatever is crumbling foundations, coming in with that Saturn and Capricorn energy, whatever is breaking down, understand that it's breaking down in order to clear out that space so that you can start building upon pillars that you need to build upon for yourself, okay? There is hope. This is a hopeful card, but it is hope that comes after the chaos, okay? All right, y'all. The last card that you have coming up in your spread is in the position of your soul message, and it is the emotions card. And I feel like this card may have come out for you guys last month, or maybe it came out for you prior to, or maybe for the fall. But the emotions card coming up in the soul message, I think, Gemini, very important for you. Although you are an air sign, you are the air sign that deals with duality and polarity. So sometimes you can very much so be attached to something, and sometimes you can very much so be detached from something. You've got the 5 of Cups coming up in your spread, and you also have the emotions card. And then everything else. Somebody warming up like fish sticks? I'm not feeling what you're having for dinner, bro. Not here for it. I'm dead ass finna burn some sage. You've got swords, and then you've got cups. Literally emotions and logic. So I think this card popping up for you in your soul message, Gemini, is saying, okay, listen, right now is really not the time for you to resonate in your emotions, because you have to be very clear, very logical about what is going on, and you do have to see things for what they truly are. Understand that sometimes you get your heart broken in the process. Sometimes we feel like we do take L's in the process, but this card is coming up and saying, like, your emotions might take a hit. You might feel like you're taking a little bit of an L with whatever shift is happening during this season, but just understand that you cannot resonate or wallow in the bad emotions attached to what's going on. Instead, you have got to devote energy into that air. We're underneath a Mercury retrograde, and we're also underneath a Gemini full moon during this lunar cycle. Tap into your air. Tap into seeing things and being logical, because that's what you're going to need to help you move through this 5 of Cups to completely eliminate that energy. Right now, everything is all about you getting to where you need to be and doing what you need to do, Gemini, and there are going to be some things that come to light that are going to kind of urge you down that path that you may not necessarily be completely prepared for yet, but just understand that everything happens for a reason. Everything is changing for a reason, and there is hope. It is positive on the other side, okay? Try not to let your emotions stop you from making the changes that need to be made. And that is your message. You know what, y'all? I'm not feeling those smells. Okay. And look at that. Father card sitting on the bottom of the deck, and this is equivalent to the Emperor card in this particular deck. So, you know, getting back to you and really being firm and grounding yourself in what it is that works for you and what it is that you need to be doing. Don't worry about anybody else or where you have your emotional investments or attachments right now. Time to resonate with that air, with that logic. Figure it out, get it done, because it is time for change. Change is coming in, and the only way you're going to make it through that change is by being logically and mentally equipped, okay? All right, Gemini. I hope that those cards provided you with some insight. If you feel like you need more insight or would like a personal reading, you can do so. You can get one, and you can do so by booking a personal reading with me through my Etsy shop, or you can send me an email. If you have any questions or comments, go on and drop one down below. I do check my channel pretty frequently, so I will respond to you so long as it's positive. Please only put positive things on my videos. What else, y'all? If you have any Gemini friends or any friends trying to see what's popping in their Gemini boo's life, go on and send them this video, help them get it all together. And if you are still listening to me talk 20 minutes in, go on and hit the subscribe button so you can keep up with when I put out more videos of me talking and reading y'all your lives. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Go on and check out all those videos that I mentioned at the beginning of this video: the Mercury retrograde, the Venus retrograde, the Jupiter in Sagittarius, and then also the new moon in Scorpio and the corresponding tarot forecast and the autumn equinox tarot forecast. All right, you guys, I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see y'all next time.